Live streaming is on.
Yeah, I would say live streaming is working. So go over here to YouTube and see if it starts up. Yeah, we're starting. We are live on YouTube. So
Hello, YouTube.
yeah, hello YouTube. Uh, Anybody out there? Welcome to This Week Unloaded, where we're pretending we're Budget Guns and Gears review and having technical difficulties. That's why you see two of my icon on here. I have to control one part through my computer, but just like with the early bird chat this morning, I'm not getting any kind of sound whatsoever through my computer, no
Check,
matter
check,
what
check,
speakers
check,
and microphone I
check,
use.
check. Can you hear me now? Check, check, check.
I hear you on my phone. You're not coming through on my little TIE Fighter speaker, so I still have not figured out what the issue is from this morning, and it's not just isolated to the StreamYard. So I have no idea what the issue is. Like I was telling Gary and the guys earlier this morning, it works for everything else. If I'm on YouTube, I could sound through my headset on YouTube. I was just playing a game a little while ago. Sound was working fine. Go to do a streaming service like um, the little ducky guy or the chamber, and nothing. So I have no idea. So my phone right now is my microphone, and controls are on the desktop. So that's the way it works right now. Two devices to do one show.
Hey, out there in the chat, G23, Southpaw, Buck. Good evening, guys.
Now, if this G23 says sound card is going out. If it was the sound card, I wouldn't have sound when playing video games and stuff. It it's not the mute button, Buck. The me muting myself would not make me not able to hear everybody else. Like I said,
Sure. Is it the
sound
volume button?
no, sound works fine everywhere else. It's just in the streaming services. I was able to talk to people in the game I was playing earlier. So I don't know what it is. I
Could it,
literally cannot. This is a head scratcher,
do you got
and
any
it was
like antivirus running or some firewall or something?
that stuff's always running. Nothing's changed on it.
You upset your wife and she broke your computer.
And no, I'm thinking the cat may have done something. He's an ass. But yeah, this is like craziest thing. The only thing I didn't try was plugging everything into the back of the computer, but because of where I have to put the tower and stuff, that's a pain in the ass to get to.
I think you need to nuke the whole system, man. Format it, fresh install, see what that'll do for you.
Put it on the porch and shoot it.
I just bought the thing. I'm not doing that. Yeah, like I said, it's crazy because everything was working fine yesterday.
You didn't do any updates or anything? Any new
Nope.
driver updates or
Nope.
something happened automatic update or something?
Nope. Because I have
Now,
to
did you
approve.
buy this from a sketchy guy in the back of a parking lot?
I think he bought it
It's
from the military. That explains it right there.
it's not no G23. It's not a USB headset, so no, nothing to do with USB. It's just weirdness. And I'm using the headset right now on my phone with no issue whatsoever.
Uh, your laptop's racist.
It's not a laptop. My laptop's sitting over there on the table, not being used for anything.
PC, whatever it is, it doesn't like you for some reason.
Did you get a white book?
Who do what now?
Did you get a white computer?
No, it's like it's gray.
If it ain't white, it ain't right, man.
That's racist.
Messed up.
I'm talking about a computer. You're the one going all
You're
inserting your own
racist. Like,
thing.
you're racist against gray computers. Come on, you racist.
If I was a racist, I say get you a black one. It's got a bigger screen on it.
Well, the monitor is black, so. G23 says it's your fault, Rob.
My fault. What did I do?
I don't know.
It happened before I showed up.
Yeah, ask him. He's the one that said it.
Maybe it's the weather.
Maybe
Guys
that's
always trying to set somebody up.
That's not outside the realm of possibility, to be honest. Because the comment section in YouTube has been messed up all day too. Some comments will show up and some won't. Instead of when you go to click on show, how to have like 12 comments and you have the comment and it'll say show 12 replies or whatever. And you click on that and sometimes you just get the spinning refresh wheel and then other times other comments will show up. So it very well could be weather related.
Yeah, my internet's running slow today, and I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm plugged up.
Yeah, I'm not on
to the
Wi-Fi
line.
either. So yeah, it very well could be weather related. That is one thing that definitely has changed. We didn't have 13 and a half inches of snow on the ground yesterday.
Mine's been working fine.
Ice, there's ice mixed in it too now.
I used
No
to have,
problem with HoboNet.
my internet used to really go bad when it was raining and stuff, and I kept calling and complaining about it. And they come out and checked anything, and it wasn't my wire running from the pole to the house because they replaced all that. It was a wire a couple houses down around the corner out on their major poles, and they unhooked me where I was at and hooked me back in like a little bit farther down the street and got my internet back to full speed.
Yeah. Anytime you get snow like this, especially when it's the like wet, heavy kind of snow that we're getting, that can mess with communications software. So yeah, I mean communications gear, not software. Like internet, phone, cable, power. It can knock your power out. So
You're just going to have to move to civilization, Rich.
What's your excuse? Because you said it's been messing with your internet too. I got you.
The big cities is hogging it all up. The Democrats in the big cities. Too busy watching there.
It's Joe Biden's fault.
It is.
It is. It's all Joe Biden's fault. Him and Al Gore. Because remember, Al Gore invented the internet, so it's Al Gore's fault. Problem solved. Got to sue Al Gore. He did it.
And CNN. I'm sure it's CNN's fault too.
Well, yeah. Somehow CNN's definitely got to be involved. There's no doubt at all about that one.
But they deny it.
Of course they'll deny it. Let's see, who all have we got out there in the YouTube chats tonight? We got Buck, of course, who has a link, but he's too good to jump in here with us anymore. Then we got G23, who I believe also has a link, and again is too good to jump in. And then we got Vanessa Kitty, and Vanessa, you're not seeing double yet. There are two of me in here. G23 says he would blame Comcast. That's it's a good person to blame since they are my ISP. And let's see, is that all we got out there so far? Nope, we got South Par RX out there saying the show must go on, whatever it takes. Yep. Adapt and overcome, right? And
If you're a
that's what we
Marine,
got so far. I'm not a Marine, but you know, it applies just as well for the Army. Buck says he has a house full of kids. Well, quit kidnapping them and you wouldn't have that problem, sir. Sheesh. So, let's see. Other than my technical difficulties, what else is going on, guys?
Buck's a busy man. He's over there building an army.
Vanessa says I thought you accidentally drank the quart of moonshine. Yeah, nope, it's not you.
the real rich is the one in the middle.
Yeah. Like the scene in It's a Wonderful Life. Which hat's mine? The one in the middle. You know, when his uncle's drunk off his ass and he goes to hand him his hat and he's like, which one's mine?
I was talking about Berettas the other day on my fill-in show for Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was towards
it would
the
have
end.
been cool if you were there, Jason, because we were trying to talk about parts that didn't get delivered. Like, you know how they advertise stuff and you can order it and hold your breath for a couple of years with certain items. Basically, that was, your input on that would have been cool.
Shoot, I missed it. I was working on a side job, and I took a break. I listened to about half of you, and I had to hurry up and get back and get something done.
A side job, huh? Brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah, my work slowed down really bad last 2 weeks. Still got another week or two of slowdown, so I got a hold of another contractor, and he flips houses, and I have a really old house that's room addition after room addition over the years, so everything is crooked and uneven, and we're just trying. He wants me to redo everything in the whole house, and just kind of running into something unique every little situation in the place.
Yeah, real quick out there in the chat, we've been joined by one of our four-legged friends, George Grayson Cat is out there. So, hi, George.
Good evening, George.
Where's your human at, George? I think I sent him a link. He could have been here too. So,
George is wanting to know where your cat's at.
I have no idea where that dumbass is. Oh, there he is. Actually, he's sitting behind my wife on the love seat, laying down, sleeping. G23 says his 3-day weekend is about over. My wife, it looks like, is going to have an unscheduled 3-day weekend thanks to all the staying snow.
Yeah, I doubt I go outside tomorrow. I think it stopped right now, but it snowed most of the day on top of what we already had.
Yeah, it's been snowing all day. And here it's not supposed to stop until Tuesday morning.
I thought all workers like her got sleds courtesy of the hospitals.
Yeah, no, that it's kind of hard to ride a sled 45-minute drive there, Rob.
Santa does it every year.
That's a sleigh that's drawn by reindeer. It's not a sled.
Then you just need to get one like his.
No, she can use a dog sled now. Dog sled would work.
Or snowmobile, excuse me.
Yeah, my wife just said Maryland put out a bulletin that they are,
You're not an emergency
that
person.
if you're not an emergency personnel and you're caught on the road in Maryland, particularly the highways, they're ticketing you and potentially arresting you for being on the roads. They've declared a state of emergency and you cannot be on the highways.
Level 3.
Shit, they do that around here quite often. I'm always in and out. I mean, that's one of the benefits of having working for yourself, having a vehicle with signs on it or whatever. Yeah, I've never had any issues as far as traveling and this and that. It seems to be they only really bother the people with the rubber band tires that are out doing stupid shit anyway. It seems.
Yeah, well, they've had a few accidents on the highway, and there is ice mixed in with this now, so that's probably why. It's snow and ice coming down. So, to make things even better, we have 13.5 inches of snow, and now we're getting snow and ice on top of the 13.5 that's already on the ground. Yay!
Nothing.
Yeah, by the time this is done, we could have it. The way this is going, we can have 2 feet of snow and then another quarter inch of ice or more on top of it. You can go out in the side and play ice hockey without having to have a frozen over pond or a skating rink. We could have done that last week too. Last week, ironically, Monday into Tuesday last week. On last Tuesday, we could have literally played hockey in the parking lot and I'm talking ice hockey.
This is only the second snow we've had. We got about, I don't know, maybe 4 inches once this year already, and since then this is all we got.
Well, she just said they're calling for another storm next weekend. So, yep.
See, I told you, global warming, man. It's all fake.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why it's climate change now, because no matter what happens, they could just make the claim that it's our fault, whether we're getting snow or we're getting 200-degree temperatures. It's why they say it's warming.
We're going to freeze over.
Because remember, back in the 70s, it was we were going into another ice age.
Yeah, we're going to
And
freeze
then
over.
in the 80s, it turned into global warming. When that didn't happen, I think temperatures started getting warmer. And now, weather can't make up its mind what it wants to do. So now it's just plain climate change so that they can blame whatever happens on everybody. It's just one big scam.
We should invest in global normality.
We should all invest in GameStop. Piss off Wall Street. That's what we should do.
Everybody buy GameStop and Tesla.
Watching the traffic jam.
My wife is watching the live stream that Maryland has of 68. She just watched a car flip live on camera.
That's cool. I mean, it sucks that it happened, but it's cool. You got to see.
And that's why they don't want anybody on the roads.
They left out the part about them, having a stroke or being high out of their mind, probably, or driving on bald tires because they rather drink every day and all that stuff. Usually.
We were talking.
Oh, go ahead,
Jason.
Go ahead. I was just going to talk about a car.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think we were talking about it on Gary's earlier, that she's been getting calls almost every day this week because of when everything freezes back over at night. You get truckers that are going down the highway, and her cop buddies keep texting her or calling her, telling her not to take 68 into work because some idiot trucker went and wrecked in the same spot every single time. Yeah, she said they even got a billboard warning up, and these idiots are still wrecking.
Yeah, we got a few places that gets a wreck all the time. speaking of wrecks, I was watching a video on YouTube yesterday. Have you heard of the car? It's like a Dodge Challenger, but it's the Demon.
Yeah, the Dodge Demon.
Yeah, it's like $100,000.
Yeah.
And it's like all set up for drag racing. It's like super fast.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course, that's a rare car. You just can't get one, right?
No, you got to special order it.
Yeah, this guy had one parked in his driveway pretty far. He had a yard and a long driveway on the street, and he had security cameras. Some fool got all high on something. I forget what it was, like glue or something. It wasn't like he wasn't drinking alcohol. He wasn't drinking
Huff and
alcohol.
pain or some shit.
Yeah, like huff and pain. He got all high on something like that and passed out. Had like a Ford Tempo, Ford Taurus or whatever. Passed out behind the wheel, drove down the street, was doing about 50 miles an hour, and T-boned this guy's car while it was sitting in his driveway all by itself. It totaled it, man. It destroyed it.
He probably got no insurance, and the dude's broke as hell because he's got drug issues.
No, the guy had insurance, but this is a irreplaceable car. You know what I mean? They only made so many of them, and you just can't go get one. And he made a couple videos. He T-boned it straight in the doors, and it bent the car from one side all the way to the other. Absolutely no way of fixing this car at all. And his insurance company even went on like a nationwide search, and they can't replace this car for him.
Yeah, this was one of those cars, like I said, you had to special order it from the factory.
Yeah, it came with a plaque that was attached to the dashboard with the owner's name on it and the serial number.
The only dealerships that were getting these for in their showroom were the largest ones that sold a bazillion cars, like maybe one that was in Hollywood, California, or New York City or something like that. If your little podunk little dealership in the middle of Poughkeepsie wasn't getting one of these, you know what I mean? This wasn't that kind of car. This was basically Dodge's equivalent of a Ferrari, for crying out loud. You weren't just going and buying one in a dealership.
Yeah, that
sucks for him, man.
Yeah, he had at least he had a good neighbor. Once the guy came back awake and everything, he got out, man, like he was going to try to take off, run away. He's trying to start his car, and his neighbor come out, pulled a gun on him, said, "Oh no, you're not going nowhere." But in the end, the dude didn't really even have probably insurance or anything. But when the homeowner showed up, the video camera caught him pulling up the driveway. Man, when he got out of that car, he went straight after that dude. He was about ready to kill him. He's like, "I can't believe this." He said, "Dude, do you know what kind of car that is? You can't replace this car," and stuff. But he made a couple videos about his troubles. And
now, here's the question. Why the hell was this guy parking that car on the street?
Oh, no, it wasn't in the street. It was in the driveway right at his garage.
Why wasn't it in the garage?
Okay, there's a reason for that. He had workers there, like remodeling his garage, a friend, and they pulled the car out, and that worker's miter saw and stand and stuff was out there in the driveway. If he'd have been out there like 30 seconds earlier, that drunk driver would have probably ran him over and killed him. Of all the things, the car in your driveway, and he wasn't that close to the street. I mean, this fool went off the road and ended up all the way up in the yards, like 2-3 houses away, and drove all the way down till he hit his driveway. I mean, it wasn't even close to the driveway.
Yeah, if your garage is being worked on and you got a car like that, that's what self-storage is for. You put that car in storage and you have yourself a
sounds like the guy knew what he had and he tried to protect his investment and was being cautious. But, what are the odds somebody high on, huff and pain or something's going to pass out, cut 30 feet through your yard, and T-bone
Considering
your one possession.
considering how many people die every year from drunk drivers, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
Yeah,
risk having that
I mean,
car outside, even if it's in
a
your
lot of
driveway.
people trust their kid to walk to school. I mean, you're not gonna. Yeah, there's
If
a certain amount of risk here that
yeah,
I can see where
yeah, but
it's a
you
shit
can't
deal
put
for
your
the guy.
kid in self storage. You can put a car in self storage until your garage is
I
done.
know. I'm just pointing it out. I mean,
thing
your
is
wife
about
checks the mail. I mean, she might get T-boned. I mean, you know what I mean? There's anything can happen, but the odds are very unlikely. So it's a shit deal for the guy. I feel bad
Yeah.
because he's probably truly at a loss where you can't,
Yeah.
if that's it and nobody's willing to sell one, and even if they are, it's not the same. You know what I mean? As far as maybe mileage or this or that. I mean, the guy's kind of
Yeah.
screwed. So it's a
And
shit deal.
options, each
Yeah.
one of these cars is unique because they're not all optioned out exactly alike. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, when you pay that much money, you design, you customize what's going in usually. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's a shame. I
what's
almost
the shame
T-boned
is-
a Mustang once, but that was a little different. It was one of them Shelby GT something.
yeah.
It was
Those things. Depending on how you
had
got those Shelby, Rob. Depending on how you got the Shelby optioned out, you're looking at close to
Mhm.
100 grand on one of those as well.
yeah. There was a stamp on the engine. $2,000 or 2,000 were made. I think it was, and it was a low number. It was like in the teens.
Yeah,
And Chinese guy owned it. Dude was cool as hell. We were at a shop and he was like, "Yeah, you can pull it out." He was like, "Give it a little gas." Man,
Yeah.
I got it just out the doors and just bumped the gas. And the thing just let go and just like did a complete almost 360 and smacked the side of the fucking building. Like I was shitting my pants and holding the brake and the tires were still just I was like, oh my God. Like, oh man, scared me straight real quick. You gotta respect that shit, man. And I'm not an idiot. I wasn't jerking the wheel or stomping on it. I just bumped it a little. I worked at the place. I'm not trying to get canned and shit. Like it was nasty. Like, good God, man.
Yeah, I was shocked because the little Ford dealership here actually had a Shelby in the showroom. It was like, damn, I wish I had the money. I don't care if I can drive or not, man. I'd buy that some bitch if I had the money. Those things are nice cars.
That's all right, man. I used to work for Reichert Ford, the world's largest car lot, and I was mainly the little gopher boy for Pete Reichert. And that family had every kind of car. I mean, they even had Thunderbolts. I mean, they've been in business as a Ford dealer for 50 years. They got every nice car there is. Well, I was sitting there one day and a flatbed truck rolls in and it's got a 71 Boss 351 Mustang sitting on it, all right? Like brand new. I'm like, oh my God, look at this car. And they drop it off. And Pete comes out and shows me the car. It's a calendar car and a magazine car. They have calendars and magazines that came with it for this car. It's in perfect shape, original everywhere. And the family itself has been trying to buy this car for like 5 years for the family's collection. And we're sitting there looking at it. Next thing I know, Pete gets in it. And you can hear this car burning tires from one end of the dealership to the other. And I'm standing there watching outside, and he goes up and leaves the dealership and turns and goes off on the highway, just running the shit out of it. Well, the next morning before I got to work, the reason I got in there is I worked for a race shop and a body shop down the street called Pro One, and they were connected with the Reicherts, so that's how I got my job there. But I stopped down there that next morning to say hi to everybody, and when I walked in, here sits that Mustang in their garage, creased all the way down the driver's side from the very front to the very back. He sideswiped it into a telephone pole.
Oh man.
They spent 5 years begging to buy this car, and it literally didn't last a few hours once Pete got a hold of it.
It's messed up, man.
Oh yeah. Another cool car. You guys ever see the Transformers edition Chevy Camaros?
Yeah, Bumblebee.
Yeah, they got the Bumblebee paint job, and instead of where it would normally have the Camaro badge, it has the Autobot logo.
Yeah, those are pretty cool cars. I like those Camaros.
Not bad. My friend was looking at one of those until he got an insurance quote, and he said, "The hell with that." He says his insurance was almost as much as the car payment, so it was one of the nicer ones. It wasn't a stock one or whatever, so or
Yeah.
normal one. So I'm not sure, but he ended up passing on that shit because and now he's got a BMW, which I'm sure he's not paying much less on, but basically
They pay just as
he
much.
wasn't messing with
repairs.
that. What's that?
I said the BMW will cost more than the insurance on a Camaro. Once
Oh
you
yeah.
factor in
I mean,
repair.
he's probably not the smartest, but he just ran into some money, so he's doing what people do, I guess.
I've actually been looking at the Camaros on Auto Trader and stuff, and you can get a pretty nice one, man. For
Yeah, there's-
14, 15 grand, you can get
Yeah,
a pretty nice one.
There's a guy here in town that has one of the Bumblebee Camaros. Those are really nice. The steering wheel has the Autobot logo on it, like in the movie and stuff. I mean, it's really cool. It looks just like the Bumblebee car before, obviously not, it doesn't transform, but it looks like the car.
Well, that would make it a chick car, so I'm shocked that guy would even do that. Like,
No,
yeah,
that
you
would
can
be
get the
from
car,
no, that
but-
would be the Bumblebee movie. These came out when the first Transformers movie came out.
Yeah, but wasn't it a girl character that the car
No.
was,
No.
taking care of and watching and all
No,
that?
that was Bumblebee. That wasn't Transformers.
Okay.
Transformers. It was Shia LaBeouf that had the car.
Well, I don't know. A banana yellow car is a chick car to me.
Actually, when they made that movie, they made that Bumblebee Camaro wasn't even a Camaro. They made that car off of a Pontiac.
Next time you're out and you see like a yellow Cavalier or something like that passing you, whatever the hell, I bet it's a chick. Take a look.
A yellow what?
Like any yellow compact,
Like
any
a
little
Chevy
yellow
Cavalier?
compact car.
He
Yeah,
said
anything
Cavalier,
like that.
man. I didn't even make Cavaliers
I
anymore.
said, we don't even have them around here no more, man.
I'm
We're like
just saying,
Cavalier.
any little
Rob
compact,
home
stuck
you
in
be
the
out,
80s and early 90s, man.
and it's bright yellow. I'm telling you, it's a chick driving.
No,
Hey,
no,
man,
you know what
if
this
you
is?
ever see a green or a brown Citation, yeah, there you go.
No, Rob's projecting. He wants a Bumblebee yellow Chevy Cavalier Z24. He just doesn't want to admit it, so he's projecting that it's a woman's car.
No.
Way to be cavalier about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we don't even have those cars here, man. I don't even think they got them in Cleveland even.
Good Lord, I haven't seen a Cavalier since the early 2000s when they turned them into like little hatchback thingies. Then
There's
they
a
make it look like some kind of little sports car.
there's a lot of broken down Cobalts sitting in the yards and stuff around here.
Yeah, those are what replaced the Cavalier was the Cobalt. Anyway, what's some other interesting cars? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, I've been looking at
About
that.
them old mid-engine Toyota minivans. Anybody ever come across one of those?
You mean like Ironhide?
Those Toyotas had a big front bumper. The whole van looked like a big mouth bass.
Yeah, that's what if you
Yeah.
remember Transformers Gen 1, that's what Ironhide was. And Ratchet. Ratchet was the ambulance version and Ironhide was just the regular mini van version of them. So we're still we're still on cars and we're in Transformers at the same time. Man, the connections, right? You know, Vanessa wants a tractor trailer done like Optimus Prime. Now, which one are you talking? The movie Optimus Prime, Vanessa, or the Gen 1 cartoon Optimus Prime? Uh, DJ Play Nice says Mopar color code FM3 equals Panther P. Now that's chick killer. Okay. Wouldn't
Are
Panther
there
be like
any other mid-engine
purple?
vehicles that are regular production cars, not
Corvette.
high-end sports cars?
You get a Pontiac Fiero, a Toyota MR2.
Fiero? Yeah, get the Fiero and put the Countach body on it. Yeah, man, nothing says 80s more.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't that come with a bag of marshmallows for when it lights up?
man! I tell you what, those Lamborghini body kits on those Fieros are so cheesy, man. I mean, like the tail lights and the turn signals and everything on them are like replacements from like Tractor Supply and stuff. Like there's screws on the outside and stuff. Those are hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Those
By the way,
Italian people would throw up if they saw one of those.
mhm. And Vanessa says it doesn't matter. It could be either Optimus. She's not picky. Just so it's Optimus, she doesn't care. I got a Pepsi Optimus
Well,
Prime.
Whatever happened with the technology of dual plugs? You guys remember like the Nissan trucks, little 4-cylinders
Dual
that have
plugs?
8 plugs? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like obviously Hemis have dual plugs, but whatever happened with that? Because I know I
They
drove
don't
one of
need
those little trucks, and man, that shit hauled ass for a little Datsun, whatever the hell pickup. Man, that thing would just shake apart. Total different than the standard one. I mean, then a one with 4 plugs or whatever. So I'm curious what. Yeah,
The dual
I never
plugs,
really looked into that at that time.
yeah, dual plugs wasn't really for power or horsepower or anything. They used a dual plug on an engine that they were having trouble like passing emissions with. They needed the extra spark to make sure it burnt all of the fuel in that combustion cycle. So it's more for just like getting a cleaner, more efficient engine than it was horsepower. And once, they just moved on and made better engines, there's better computers, better fuel injection now. They don't need that little Band-Aid to fix it. But dual plugs was really just to basically pass emissions. Back in the day, the old Hemis that had dual plugs, those were flat out race cars that they were just dumping enormous amounts of fuel and air into them. And with that much, you need the dual plugs. High compression. It can actually like blow out the spark.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
DJ Play Nice says that they had a Ferrari 308 kit for Fieros too. I never saw that one, but that would be like trying to play Magnum PI with your Fiero.
Yeah, the Ferrari one, you actually, to get the side windows on it, you actually like had to cut the car, space it, put in a spacer and make it longer and put it back together.
Yeah, anybody that growing up in Pittsburgh, anybody that had the kit on the Fiero, it was always the Countach. They were always going with the Lamborghini. You never saw a Ferrari one; it was always the Lamborghini.
Yeah, because I remember those. The Ferrari one, the frame and everything actually had to be lengthened, so they were much harder to build.
You think like 19, 20-year-old gold diggers know the difference back then?
Yeah, it's more than the looks. It's called fit and finish, and there's a difference between a 4 and 6 cylinder Pontiac engine and a V8 Ferrari.
Yeah,
No.
obviously.
No, I knew of. I didn't know the guy personally, I mean, I talked to him before, but that was because he was at the track and stuff. He had one of the Fieros that he had put the kit on. He swapped out the Fiero 4-cylinder, extended the body a little bit, put the different engine mounts in there, and put a turbo V6 in that thing, and that car would freaking fly.
I actually saw one time, believe it or not. It was a car show car, but the dude put a big block Chevy in the back.
How the hell did he fit a big block Chevy? Dude
Set in
had
there.
to extend that car like 4 feet.
Well, of course, it set in sideways, and it used like the old Buick transmission or something from like the front wheel drive Cadillacs and Buicks. But it was down in there. It was I think it was like even in the car magazines for a while back in the day.
Now, I did know somebody that had a Ford Pinto station wagon, and they turned it into a rear engine car. They took out the back seat.
Cool.
They took out the back seat, put a firewall there, which gave you more. It actually gave you more leg room if you were driving or in the passenger seat, because you can move your seat back farther. And man, that car was fast.
There was a little race car running around. I know a couple people owned it. It was a Chevy Chevette, and they pro streeted it and tubbed it out in the back, and the wheel well tubs actually like came up and hit the back of the front seats in the car, and it was all set up like that for racing, and it ended up being sold like dirt cheap, $800. Everybody's passing it around. Anybody that ever got an engine in it and drove it wouldn't drive it down the track twice.
Yeah, that's way the Pinto was. The Pinto was set up for racing. I mean, he had the big wheels in the back and stuff. And that thing, man, you hit the gas and the front wheels would just instantly, they were off the ground. You steered that car with the gas and brake pedal. If you were going fast, you could not steer really with the steering wheel. The front wheels hardly ever touched the ground. He had to have wheelie bars on the back of it, which totally made it where it wasn't street legal at that point in the state of Pennsylvania. So, but yeah, that was a cool car.
I think you can run wheelie bars here. They just have to be up. You can't have them down like you're at the track.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's got some weird laws and things like that. Like, you can't, if your tire sticks out just a little bit past your body, you got to have fender flares on it, or it's illegal.
Yeah, we're allowed I don't know if we're allowed an inch over or we have to be flush, but I've never known that to be enforced.
Oh, Pennsylvania, they enforce it, trust me. I know somebody that got popped because the tires on his truck stuck out like half an inch, and he got popped for it when he went to get his truck inspected.
Yeah, now and then we get in trouble for using air shocks and jacking them up way too high in the back because you can see the gas tank and everything. But we do have some laws on the 4x4 trucks on how tall the bumper can be from the ground and stuff. But man, I don't know if any of that ever being enforced actually. But they are tough as hell.
Crazy, man.
They are tough as hell on the tinted windows though around here.
Oh yeah. No,
you ever see a little 5'0" girl try to climb up in one of them trucks? This shit's funny as hell. I've seen some that got that power step that comes down, and they're still jumping up trying to get on that damn thing. That's hilarious. Like, one lady couldn't close the back hatch of her SUV that was jacked up. She's all jumping and jumping. Finally, she hits the button and it closes. I'm like, man, boy, it must be nice to have money. People are crazy. I'd be pissed trying to throw shit in and out of my truck like that.
Pennsylvania, if you got the fuzzy dice hanging from your mirror, or one of those Christmas tree air fresheners, or like
obstruction of vision.
Yep, you better pull that off of your damn mirror, or you're getting a ticket.
Same in New York. Yeah, here they'll check, especially if you have any kind of custom cars or anything like that. I mean, they'll be looking at your tent, your tail lights, your headlights, your blinkers, your exhaust, your rims, rim size, spacers, tires. Like they go, sometimes they have checkpoints up where people used to hang out with their cars in parking lots and stuff. And as soon as you leave, you roll through the checkpoint and get a fistful of tickets, basically. So it's pretty crazy. So
Yeah, you're talking about those big trucks. Vanessa said put steps on it. I knew somebody did that. You know how like the buses will have the little steps that'll pop down for people that are blind or something, so that they don't have to take that big step up onto the bus. They'll have those like folding steps that are retractable, and I knew somebody had their truck set up that way, where there would actually be steps that would pop down, where you didn't have to try and jump up to get up to the step bar on the truck to get in.
I've seen them like that, but the ones I've seen, they don't extend that far. So either they're installed low enough that it makes no sense to be jacked up like that, or they're, up to the point where you're still breaching pretty high.
Yeah, these ones were like the one that he had on his truck was 5 steps long, and it would fold up right up underneath the body, because the way it came out, you had one big step and then a little step that came out, a smaller step that came out of that one,
and that all encloses within a skid plate.
Yeah,
sounds like somebody with too much damn money to me.
Hey, if you got it, spend it.
Yeah, man. If you got a nice 4x4 truck around here, man, the cops don't mess with you. They really don't mess with you too bad around here, anyways, man. Like if you get a speeding ticket, you really deserved it. I mean, you can drive right past them doing 35 and a 25, and they just wave at you. I mean, you can go by doing 55 and a 45. They don't care. Just, as long as you're being okay, not being an asshole about anything, it's really hard to get a traffic ticket around here. Knock on wood. I'll probably get one this week. License plate bulb or something.
Yeah, they're listening, man. You're gonna get popped now. Sarge is in the background listening in, and he's gonna call up the local sheriff's department, and they're gonna call your state police. And next thing you know, you're gonna be getting pulled over every week.
Yeah, his Sarge's union called my union here. They put me on the wanted list.
In my area, it's more like the lottery. Everybody gets a turn, in a sense. I guess the lottery is probably a bad way to put at it, but anybody who's willing to get behind the wheel is taking a chance that today's your day. It's the way it seems to go. So I've known people that got stopped for doing 2 miles an hour over. That basically, this realtor lady that looks like your average older teacher or something, getting tickets for that, and people for I've been stopped dirty plate lights. Like they won't just let you wipe it off. Like they're going to give you a ticket for it. It's pretty crazy. Like anybody I know that drives has been pulled over for something. Whether some are justified, sure. Some it's just like everybody's doing 57. Most people are doing 65, 70, but they caught you doing 57 today. So today's your lucky day. You know what I mean? So it's just one of them things where you never know. Anytime you go anywhere, you're seeing them. That's for sure. So, it's kind of a crappy deal in a sense, but I think it's a big revenue thing with the city. So,
Buck out there saying he's seen cops on the side of the road measuring bumpers on trucks on the highway. Yep, I've seen that too.
Now, when I was praising the law enforcement here, I meant local law enforcement. The people that say state trooper on their cars, they're not as forgiving. No.
Yeah, that's generally the way that works. If you get pulled over by the state boys, you're in trouble.
See, like one of my last speeding tickets was from the state patrol, and I wasn't even speeding. So you can get tickets here. It looks like they're having a road road check, for safety or something up the side of the road, and they like pull 4 or 5 cars in, and when those 4 or 5 are done, they leave out. They walk out in the middle of the road and flag 4 or 5 more in, and they've already got your speeding ticket filled out. All they got to do is put your name and your license plate on it.
Mhm.
It's called doing 65 mile an hour by aircraft. That's what they call it.
Yeah, you see those signs, Vascar speed enforced on the side of the road as you're going down the interstate. That's what that is. That's the airplanes that are flying around with the radar on the plane, tagging people and then calling it in, and then the trooper just waits for you to get there and then pulls you over.
Yeah, well, see, I usually don't speed at all, not even 5 miles an hour. And right as we were coming along that stretch of the road, I was on my way out of town to go do something I didn't even want to do. I was in no hurry. I remember cars was passing me, and I just don't speed. There's no way I would do 65 on that 55 zone right there. And yep, pulled me over with like 4 other cars and went to every one of us. I already had the tickets filled out.
I was coming down a hill in an area that's very busy. 2 lanes, this and that. It's a known area near a college here, and this and that. No problems. The speed limit's 45. I'm doing like 46, 47 coming down the hill in a standard. So I'm let off, and the car's slowing down in a sense. I get passed on the side, like blown by. And right at the bottom of the hill, there's a intersection with an officer waiting in the left lane. And so the guy hits his lights, and I'm like, oh, finally they got an asshole, And the guy goes flying by, and I come through the intersection, and I get pulled over. And then they tried to hit me for doing like 15 or 16 over or something like that. Like, I was like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, you didn't see the big guy just pass me, like a big SUV? Like, what are you, crazy? Like, well, I didn't say it like that, but basically ended up having to take it to court and stuff, and it got reduced. But they still tried to whack me with that, which is ridiculous. And then my dumbass was like, there was no way. I might have been doing like 2 over or something. And they're like, fine, we'll give you a ticket for 2 over. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, I shouldn't have said nothing. Like,
the worst thing
I know.
can do.
But, you got to prove you're right. You're like, no, I broke the law a little bit. Not that much, goddamn it. Like,
that's
like,
the worst thing you can do. Because you just confessed. The
it's bullshit though, because everybody knows that other asshole's the one he really clocked, but he just pulled my ass over. Some bullshit.
Yeah, but that little thing called the right to remain silent. When you're pulled over on the side of the road getting a speeding ticket,
I know. I screwed myself. I know.
People don't realize when you are given.
And I know better, but it was just, I knew that wasn't me. I was like, no way. Like, I screwed myself.
Yeah, don't feel bad, man. People don't realize when you're pulled over on the side of the road and that cop is writing you a ticket, you've just been arrested. That is a form of arrest. That is a summons for you to appear in court. So whenever
too much authority.
When you are pulled over, do not argue it on the side of the road. If you're going to argue it, take your day in court and argue it before the judge, and keep your damn mouth shut.
Yeah.
Do yourself
it's pretty
a favor,
deal.
folks. Because sometimes you'll just talk yourself into a bigger ticket. If not a trip to the local jail. It's always in your best interest just to, yes, sir, no, sir, okay, sir. And that's it. Just leave it to that. You start, but I was only doing this. So you just confessed to committing a crime, fella. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, there's a county below me here. You don't want to get pulled over in that county at all. your simple little speed ticket's probably gonna take a half hour to an hour. Every single car they pull over on the highway, you get searched automatically, 100% of the time, no matter who you are. Like when they come pull you over, all of a sudden there'll be 2 or 3 more cop cars behind him, so they're not outnumbered or anything, and
Well,
they search
better,
every vehicle every time.
yeah, they better have very good reasonable suspicion. Otherwise, they are violating your constitutional rights doing
They
that.
They do have good reasons. They'll have signs up. They make more arrests for what do you call it? Like hauling drugs and stuff
That's not
than anywhere in the
reasonable
state,
suspicion.
because
You
it's a
cannot-
major path from Detroit down to here, man, and
Yeah,
that county
problem-
takes care of it.
The problem, and the Supreme Court has ruled on this numerous times, they cannot pull you over and search your car just because they think you might be dealing drugs. They have to have more than just,
Oh well, you're getting a
oh,
speeding
this is a
ticket or
major
something.
drug throughway.
They
We
search
search everybody.
They search every car. I mean, you'll start out with a speeding ticket or whatever, but they'll
Yeah.
search
Failure
every
to
car
hold
And they're-
lane
every
or
time.
They're going to do that
maintain
to the wrong.
speed or anything that's debatable.
They're going to do that to the wrong person. They're going to find themselves the subject of a major lawsuit.
They've been doing that here for at least 10 years.
Again,
Everybody kind of knows it. Don't speed.
eventually,
Do not speed.
When there's a
eventually they're
couple
going
ways
to
you
get
can
the
go
wrong
down.
person.
There's a couple ways you can go to the city from my area, in a sense, and one of the ways would bring you right through Jersey. And for the longest, it was known by everybody, like, don't smoke in your car at all if you're driving through there, because as soon as you got near, they'd basically pull anybody over that was smoking a cigarette and pretty much say they thought it was marijuana, and then they'd want to search your vehicle or check everything and be a pain in your ass. And it was like a big thing for the longest. And eventually they did end up, I heard they ended up getting in trouble over it. Although I don't know what that really means or whatever, but it was a big deal for a while. Like,
Yeah,
you couldn't make a trip down there without seeing, 4 or 5 people pulled over, getting searched, kids on the side of the highway and shit. Like, they were just, making a huge deal out of it.
Yeah, you're looking at illegal search and seizure right there.
Yeah, they got about every cop down here's got the dogs. You know what I mean? So, like, if you get pulled over for speeding by one cop, here in a second, here comes the dog cop, and you see it all the time. Doesn't matter, whole families, everybody. You got to go get away from your car and kind of go up the hill off the side of the road for safety. But yeah, every single car gets searched every single time. But they do have like the state record for all the confiscations and stuff that they make, and they're kind of proud of it. They even got like highway signs about it.
Well, they're probably getting paid good there too, because I know the way it was explained to me a long time ago. Basically, if you can say they pull a car over like that, and they think that may be the case, and they end up searching the vehicle. Well, if they got a child in that car, then they can call, an officer that deals with children, in a sense, the car seat guy. I can't think of the term now. Come check your car seat, all that type of stuff. Now they're involved. That's a separate department. And then if there's any animals in the car, that could be another department through the, basically they try to bring in everybody they can, because each department would get 10% of the cut of whatever they did find in the vehicle. And that usually gets kicked back to, uniforms, vests, things like that, patrol cars, pensions, whatever. In some cases, there's even, reports of, them having hunting lodges to have meetings and certain stuff that comes from this. Same thing with civil forfeiture in a sense. But so it is a thing. So don't be surprised, especially border areas and areas like that. Basically, if you want to make money as an officer, go to the border. It's pretty much what I was told, because of the fact that that's where everything's coming in and out, and you'll actually have some money in a pension. So granted, I'm not one, so I can't state, but that's pretty much the word from them themselves.
Yeah, Gary says traffic citation is not the same as arrest. It's not the arrest like what most people think of when they think of arrest. But I actually have books from when I was in school that have that listed as a form of arrest. It's not your being taken away in handcuffs, thrown in the back of the squad car arrest. No, but it is technically, if you want to get down to it and look up all the definitions and everything from the legal standpoint, it is a form of. But it's not the typical read your rights and everything style arrest.
Don't tase me, bro.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a sad story about the police here.
What's that?
Had a pretty good sheriff, man. His dad was a sheriff, and he was a pretty good guy. He was still a younger guy in his 20s, and there was a guy walking down it's a county road, but it was a state route. He was walking back toward the nearest little town here. He'd ran out of gas, and the sheriff deputy stopped to give him a ride to get some gas, and never checked him out or anything. And the guy shot him in the back of his head, killed him while he was in his cop car.
That's something.
Yeah,
I heard that's why it's procedure to always ask for ID when giving assistance or anything like that. If you're on the side of the road, police always ask. I'm told the reason why is because of a famous case where an officer actually transported a wanted escaped criminal, basically believed his story and drove him out of a search area because he didn't bother checking his ID. And so it kind of went back on it. And then the police were held liable for anything he did after that fact because he was in police care. And, as they say, negligence is no excuse. And that kind of cut both ways. So from what they say, that's why you can always expect them to, even if you got a flat tire, they're probably going to have to run your name.
Yeah, I want to address what Sarge said. He's like, you do realize you do not have to read people the rights. Miranda only applies when a subject is in custody and you're asking guilt-seeking questions. Yes, I'm aware, but most people aren't. That's why I stated it the way I did. We're an arrest as most people think of it when you're being read your rights and handcuffed and thrown in a car. Thanks to Hollywood, people think that every time you have handcuffed somebody and put them in the back of a squad car, you have to read a Miranda. So that's why I worded it the way I did, Sarge. So.
Yeah, you only got two rights around here. You got the right to keep your mouth shut, and you got the right to pay your fine. That's about all you got.
So what else we want to talk about? Don't everybody
Your
speak
show.
up at once.
Did you hear G23 was getting his wife some coke and a male stripper for her birthday?
Okay.
Alrighty then. So you guys want to talk wrestling?
You have a Coke and a smile then.
Just joking, of course. Just joking.
What was your Beretta problem you were talking about yesterday?
We were just talking basically about firearms and on how some companies, even like with example with Beretta, I mentioned that you had issues, if I'm correct, on basically trying to source certain individual parts for certain models that you just weren't getting in a sense.
Oh yeah,
So
parts.
something to
Some
be
parts have
cautious
been
of
on.
if you're a collector.
Yeah, some parts been on back order for a couple of years.
Yeah, COVID has only made things worse.
Yeah, you still with Berettas. I mean, you can get if it's a brand new gun, you want to change some stuff on it, you can get those parts. But if you're looking for like stainless steel parts from some of the older models, yeah, you kind of got to eBay it or wherever you can come up with it.
Yeah, and some of those parts are still being made. The problem is some of those parts are coming out of Italy, and Italy did shut down everything. It's why you can't find hardly any of the Uberti replicas that we looked at when we did the Wild West Gun Show. You can't find them because they can't export them out of Italy because they're not making them right now. The factories have been shut down over there, so they're not producing them. Any that you find in the country have been here since before COVID was a thing. So it's like it's the same way with these Beretta parts. Even though the factory was making the new parts, with this shutdown that they have over there, they're not producing the parts right now. So whatever you find is stuff that was in the country before COVID happened, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's not. It's about all guns, man. Anything related with firearms or reloading. It's been a whole year of out of stock, back order, comes back in for a week, back on out of stock, and it's just really getting worse the last couple months.
Yeah, I was
Now, if you
shocked.
bought say a regular Beretta, went into the shop, nothing fancy, nothing you ordered, just the
Like
average guy wants a Beretta. So
the
you went
average
in the shop.
FS, your
Yeah,
basic
say
FS.
if you bought that and you wanted to maybe change the grips or put a different thumb lever on, can you find that stuff?
Yep.
Yeah,
All
you
you
can
need to
find
do, all
those.
you need to do, you don't even have to do it to every model, but like the plain basic FSs and some stuff, they'll come with a plastic trigger, a plastic guide rod, and like plastic levers on the safety. If it's an Italian gun, if it's an American gun, it'll have metal safeties. But you get an all metal kit, right, to replace all your plastic parts. You got to buy it in two different pieces. It costs you about $100. Yeah, you can always get that. You only need it one time. It ain't like you got to keep buying a lot of them. But if you buy a higher end Beretta, a little bit nicer, you might get a plastic guide rod, but your other parts will be metal, and you don't have to worry about that. So if you buy the cheapest Beretta, you just need a $8 D spring for the hammer and the all metal kit. It's like $75, and then you need a aluminum lantern loop, like $15, and you'll have a gun that's all metal and has a little bit better trigger than original. Only
Yeah,
take about
And can you
15, 20
can
minutes to
you
put
get
together.
springs and like a firing pin for that as well?
Yeah, but
Okay.
you don't never
So
need it.
basically, if you're not looking for anything fancy or special, you can still get parts for something if you wanted to play with a Beretta.
Yeah,
yeah. The
sure.
hardest one to find parts for is the 92S because it doesn't use the standard grips because of having the mag release on the bottom of the butt of the pistol. So the grips for those are different, and they're harder to find grips for.
The
And I'm
Berettas,
told the parts for that release are almost impossible to get now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just maybe
you really don't
that
need.
might be BS, but what's what I hear.
Well, the 92S was never produced in the U.S. All the parts for those come out of Italy, which is why it's harder to find parts. They were still making spare parts for them because there's still departments in Italy that use them, so they still made the parts for it. But with the factories shut down and everything, if you're not law enforcement in Italy, you're not getting the parts for it. Any parts that are here were here before, like I said, like we were talking, that COVID happened. So
No, has anybody tried slipping them like an extra 50, like in your request, just to see?
Euros. I think they
Just
deal in
saying, you never
euros.
know.
yeah, the Italy's on the euro, man.
Yeah, but you'd assume, I don't know, I'm assuming ours is still valued more. They might be like, oh shit.
No,
You
euro and
think it's a
dollar
lot.
aren't. Euro and dollar typically are around worth around the same amount. Euro might be worth just a slight little bit less than a dollar, but they're roughly on par with one another usually. It does fluctuate with any currency, but usually they're pretty much on par with each other.
I don't know, Rob. Everything I ever looked at for a Beretta, which I'd assume would be for any firearm, like if you go to a website that's based out of like Europe or someplace and try to get even sights for a gun, they're not allowed to ship it to America.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, not even
And
sights.
another reason I like Smith and Wesson. And I was saying on that show yesterday, I wouldn't mind getting a Beretta. I'd pick one of them up before a Glock. My first thought, I guess, of a Beretta is Lethal Weapon. I know a lot of people go to the military, but I can't help but think Lethal Weapon with them. But and it's got a long track record, and it's a good looking gun in my opinion. So
That's what got me. That's why I bought Berettas.
I think I'd have to go for the silver one or stainless or whatever that is.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon and Die Hard made the Model 92 M9 pistol in this country famous.
I tell you, I know the very first time I ever saw a Beretta, like on TV or anything, when I was a young kid, playing toys, all greatest gun in the world. There's only two guns, a Colt 45 and a Dirty Harry 44 Magnum. You know what I mean? As a kid, that's just all there is. And the talk was up that the Army was getting rid of the 1911. Well, we didn't call them 1911s then, but the Army was getting rid of the 45s and using this Beretta 9mm. You know what I mean? And maybe I'd heard about it in the magazine or something, but there was a TV show called Stingray, and it was made by like the same people that made the A-Team and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was like this, detective, hero guy like the A-Team is, but as a civil guy, and he had a black Corvette Stingray. But he got in some trouble with some like military group people, and they pointed a gun at him, and he wasn't scared or something. And one of the other characters in the show was like, "Man, I thought she was goner when he had that." And he's like, "Nah, he's using that new Beretta, and it's got a red dot on it. You could tell when the safety was on and stuff. So I knew I was safe." And I was like, there was the first time I ever saw a Beretta on TV or anything.
Didn't some of the cops on TJ Hooker use them? I know, what's his face? William Shatner's character, Hooker, carried a Model 19, not the Glock 19, the Smith & Wesson Model 19.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Lethal Weapon.
I think some of
Die Hard had to be the big ones.
Because TJ Hooker would have been right around the time when the LAPD was transitioning from revolvers to the Beretta. So I think some of the cops on there had them too, if I remember right.
I like the fact that they're, fixed barrel, even down to 22s or anything. When it seems like a fixed barrel is just more accurate.
They're mine. I had one that wasn't accurate, brand new out of the box, but it only took a $30 locking block to fix it. But I had one that was a lemon, but I got about 8 or 9 more that are just fabulous guns. Never had a problem with them. You're talking about springs. There's really no springs that I ever deal with on a Beretta. You change your recoil spring, that ain't no big deal. But The only ones you could ever run into any problems with would be like the uh, extractor spring on it. That would be about the only one, and you can buy like a better one from like Wilson Combat for like $3 or something, man. And you only got to change them every, I don't know, 8-10,000 rounds. Stuff like new firing pins and other springs and stuff in that gun, you'll never ever need to change them. I mean, they'll go
Now,
40,
Squib was saying
50,000
something
rounds.
about DOD testing with where they found issues with slides cracking after like 30,000 rounds.
No, that was no. What happened
now
was the first ones
it's
they only had a few slides to break. Okay, Beretta actually sued the government over this for bad mouthingness and letting the story get out. So according to the court's decision, and everything, only a few slides cracked in half. Okay, and that was back in the day. It all because of the military was using hot loads. They loaded their ammunition incorrectly, and they were basically firing proof rounds through those guns all the time. And, they don't maintain them, and they get a high round count on them. But they had some slides crack and break, and one of them came back and hit a guy in the face. Nobody got killed or anything from it. But Beretta did make a modification, and it's got a slot and a bigger hammer pin in it. So even if the slide would break in half, it will not leave the back of the gun anymore. It's impossible. But they've never had a slide break. Not one military in the world has had a slide break. Not one police department anywhere. Only the special forces, whoever had those guns in the beginning, and it was all traced back to they were basically firing proof rounds. I mean, the hottest 9mm you can get without exploding a gun on one trigger pull. So there's no gun really going to survive a diet of rounds like that.
And if that's the case, and you're talking 30,000 rounds of hot ass ammo, then that's really not bad.
I don't know if they went that far. I think they broke way less than that, but they broke.
Okay.
And it was
he was claiming 30,000 rounds, I think it was. So I by memory. So, and then I remember asking him. I know I've seen models that have like a little thicker chunk, like halfway through the slide. I don't know if that's like the Brigadier or something like that.
Yeah, Brigadier.
People are saying that was brought out to counter that. I mean, is that truly the case, or like what you're saying? It was with normal ammunition. It's not. It's a non-issue anyway.
That hump, that Brigadier hump. Yes, that is the area where they used to crack. But the reason they went to that hump like that was for 40 cal, for 40 Smith & Wesson. That's where that hump come from. It's totally unnecessary on a 9mm. All the good guns that are 9mm, you don't want that heavier slide just for the weight and everything on it.
But they mainly did it because, there's no point in make two different slides when all they got to do is bore the barrel out of. Put the bore a little bit bigger through the slide for the 40 barrel, and they can use both slides. So you're making one slide instead of two slides.
Yeah, and they come up when they changed to that Brigadier slide for that little hump in the middle. The dust cover also got slanted on the guns. That made just a little bit more meat down there on the end, and they decided to make 9mm and everything like that. So they only had to make one frame. You know what I mean? So if you get an Italian gun, it'll have a slanted dust cover on it. And if you get an American gun, it'll be just like the M9, and it'll have a straight dust guard on it. But nowadays, everything's got a rail on it anyways, and that's a little bit beefier, thicker frame top to bottom.
Yeah, that's basically what he was talking about. Clay. That was the metallurgy was bad in some of the slides, and it would cause them to break. Especially when they were using the round, he was saying, because you use that super hot round and the metallurgy's bad, it's gonna crack it. It's just
Yeah, it's not really the gun's fault. No gun, not a Glock, not a nothing. Maybe a Desert Eagle, but nothing else is going to survive proof rounds one after another.
Jericho might, because remember the Jericho was the reason why it's called the 941 was because it was made for the 41 Action Express, which didn't work, and they just converted that to 9mm. So that's going to have a little bit stronger frame and barrel and slide. So they might be one of the few that could survive that round for any length of time. I mean, you don't want to completely keep fire just that round through them because that'd just be absolutely stupid. But it probably could go a couple hundred rounds of that with that one breaking.
Well, what it came down to is Winchester loaded the ammo wrong. When you go to a NATO cartridge for 9mm, the brass is thicker than a regular commercial brass, so that effectively lowered the volume on the inside of that case, but they didn't change the amount of powder that they put in it. They used the same amount of powder as if it had the commercial case,
Right.
and that just overpressured the whole round.
Yeah, the NATO case having the smaller diameter builds more pressure than a standard. It's what NATO, a true 9mm NATO is hotter than your standard 9mm round that you're going to go to the store and buy.
Sure is. I have some.
Yeah, I got
From
quite
Winchester.
a bit.
The quality
looked
looks
for
like
that.
hell. The primers don't even look centered. It doesn't look like the greatest ammo, but it is hot.
We've been joined by Pat. Hey, you know what? I never got around to, with all the technical difficulties, I never got around to doing the introductions tonight. So, yeah, we got Jason Stewart with us, Rob D, the New York Outcast, and now Pat Hirsch joining us. So, hi, guys. Now that I thought about it, it's like, hey, wait a minute, we didn't do introductions tonight.
Hi, Rich. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rich. Glad to be on the panel tonight along with everybody else.
Been a long time, Pat. How's the gun coming?
Gun's coming along pretty good. Definitely got some rounds for it now. Been doing a little bit of shooting with it, a little bit of hunting, and so far it's been.
Oh, you got it built already?
What's that?
You got it built already?
Yeah, it's running.
I'm talking about the belt fed.
Oh, the double barrel over and under.
Yeah, man.
No, actually, I did some more sketching on it. I'll have to put that up here pretty soon.
All right, well, don't leave me hanging. I've been sitting here telling people they're going to be shocked when you get done with this thing.
As long as I get my hands on a good Smithy lathe, I'll be in pretty good shape. So,
double barrel belt fed exterminator.
Over and under.
Yep, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vary in caliber, just depending on what the customer wants. So, yeah, no. So, yeah, I actually do have some more sketches. I've actually been kind of still messing around with the idea every once in a while. So, I'll have to give you guys an update on the sketches.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, Rob, if he had a working model already built, that'll be the quickest R&D time in the history of R&D for crying out loud.
Hey, man, you never know.
Hey,
you never know.
In America, you can do anything.
You build it, they'll come.
I used to be a machinist, so don't count out a machinist yet.
That still would be the quickest R&D time ever. Doesn't matter if you're a machinist or not. Good Lord. You're talking, how long? What was that, like 2 months ago we were talking about that? I mean, that's a quick R&D time right there.
He might have 24 kids working on this. 12, to 16
What are
hours
you talking
a day.
about? He doesn't live in China.
See, you You got to now
No, but you have
incorporate.
4 kids.
You got to incorporate the digi trigger now.
Somehow, I
So
don't think
it
the one that
fires
runs
both
around in her
barrels.
diaper is going to be helping you develop a gun there, Pat.
No, I've only got one in diapers now.
Yeah, that's what I said. The one that's running around in her diaper. I don't think she's going to be helping you
But
do that.
she's all completely potty trained now, so look out. I might have to teach her how to spin a lathe here pretty quick.
Oh, man. Spin a lathe and use the CNC machine? He's
Yeah.
gonna have her programming CNC machine by the time she's 5.
Yep. XYZ axis, baby.
Or they're out there driving a truck doing his job while he's in there getting the magic done.
He's gonna have them punching cows, among other things that he does to cows. This freak over here.
Do we really want to go down this road tonight?
No, we don't. So don't even.
Because guess what? That season's just about a week away. So I'm about ready to start making some videos.
How are you going to find the cows in all the snow you've been getting?
Oh, I've been busy. All the lots are completely clear and clean, baby. Everything's cleaned out. No snow. About
You
12
want
to
something
16
like a on?
No, I don't need any more. I've already got a foot on the ground. I don't need no more.
We got over a foot.
Yeah, I seen that up that way. Yeah, usually if we get between 6 to 8 inches in a shot, usually that's doing pretty good down here. But when we get a foot, that's really saying something down here. So
Yeah, we still got over a day of this to go through yet. They're talking potential for power outages tomorrow and all that good stuff. So
you getting freezing rain on that then too, Rich?
yes, there's sleet mixed in with the snow.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one thing that just about knocked us clear out, we had freezing rain right before we got the snow. Thank God it wasn't very much.
That was last week. Last week you could have played ice hockey on our parking lot.
Yep, that's about here. All it took was like a 1/16 of an inch, and man, everybody was skating around like fools out here, and then the snow came, and that actually helped.
There were areas of the parking lot when I tried walking across it just for shits and giggles, where the ice was anywhere from 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch thick. And the trees and everything looked like they were encased in crystal.
Yeah, no thanks. You can keep it up north or wherever you're at. I forget.
West Virginia, man. Eastern West Virginia. With you tell somebody that from outside the United States, and that really confuses them. they don't get the concept of there being an Eastern West. Wait, what?
So, anywho, how's everything been going tonight? Been having internet issues all night long. Just finally had to reset everything so I could jump in.
You missed the car chat. What else has you missed? What else were we talking about?
Your issues.
Technical
Yeah,
difficulties.
technical issues at the beginning of the show. I'm actually using both my computer and my phone to run the show tonight. Because for some reason...
Had some Beretta talk.
Yeah. But for some reason, it was happening this morning on Gary's show when he uses StreamYard. And it's the same thing's happening on the chamber with my computer, where I can watch YouTube videos and have sound. I can play a video game and have sound and my microphone work. I tried doing a streaming show, whether it was Gary's show this morning or this show, on my computer, and no sound and no microphone working. I don't know what the problem is. So I'm using my phone to control my headset so that I have sound and a mic, but then everything else I'm using the computer for. So, yeah.
Just find me when you're
screwed it up.
Well, sounds like a typical Sunday.
No, that'll be a typical Friday because this is usually the kind of problems that Budget Guns and Gear has.
Gotcha. But anywho, yeah, no, I jumped in on the Beretta talk just to see if the internet was going to work okay. So, no, I got in on the Beretta talk. I was out there in the chat. So, yeah, I own a Beretta.
Bug, huh?
What's that?
You would own one?
Yeah, I would just to have
You would?
one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would actually carry one on a full basis, but I've shot one once and I thought it was a pretty decent gun as far as that goes. You know, just accuracy and the way it felt in the hand and everything. But I don't know if I would actually carry it as my full-time carry gun.
Well, you can get a Centurion and a compact.
Okay, refresh my memory on that one, Jason.
Okay, you know how like if you're talking about a 1911, you got your full size. Well, then you got a commander size. That's like 4 3/4 or whatever instead of 5 inches. Well, that's the same thing with a Beretta. You can get a Centurion, and it's about a 1/2 inch shorter. And then you can get a compact, which the slide and the barrel will be the same size as the Centurion, but it'll have a shorter grip on it.
Okay, I gotcha. Has anybody concealed carried one of those on the panel?
I haven't. I was curious if it was the weight or if it was the size that would bother you, or some other reason on why you wouldn't carry one.
All I'll say, I haven't carried one, but the Centurions, it's like not a huge difference to make it from this gun's too big to carry to this is just right to carry. But it does have the effect of the gun's just a little bit more balanced when you're aiming it. Just I mean, you can, if you got them, like you can hardly tell the difference between the two. You have to like sit them next to each other. But the feel of it, it does have a little bit better balance to it.
Yeah, the Beretta 92s are kind of crazy when it comes to other things anyway, because the full size is what, a 5 inch barrel, and then the compact is 4 1/4 or 4 1/2, which in every other brand of gun, a 4 1/4 to 4 1/2 inch is the full size. It's crazy the way that Beretta does their naming designation on that front.
Well, when most of them, if you get a regular Beretta and it's full size, the barrel's going to stick out a 1/2 inch past the slide in the front. Most all the compacts and the Centurions, that barrel it's not flush. It only sticks out like 80 thousandths, 100 thousandths or something. So it's pretty much flush with the barrel or the slide. So that's why they use the same slides on the compacts and the Centurions, but the barrel just doesn't stick out. So that's why the barrel is so much shorter in numbers. You know, I mean, it is like 3 something, 3 1/4, if that, 3 3/8 or something compared to 5 inches. But then when you got the whole gun, you just look at the slide, it's only a 1/2 inch difference.
Gotcha.
But they do screw you. You can't put a compact slide onto a full size gun. They didn't cut the frame rails exactly the same. Used to, you couldn't put a Centurion slide on a full size frame, but you can nowadays. I've done it. Since they've made the runs the last few years, the Centurions, and instead of just using a compact slide, they actually took the full size slide and cut the front tip of it off. So all the dimensions everywhere else where it contacts the frame didn't change. All they did was cut the front of the slide off a little bit and move the sight back, and that's all they had to do. So nowadays you can swap a Centurion in a full size, but you can't never stick a compact slide into the mix. But Centurion and a compact, you can swap barrels and everything else, just not the slide.
Gotcha.
Just out of curiosity, I'm pulling up that website that shows you the different dimensions of the guns where you can compare two different guns. You got the FS compact and the 92 FS. Just out of curiosity, see what the dimensional differences are. Yeah, it's like,
What's the most expensive Beretta? Not
Hey.
like, meteorite grips or something, but as far as like
From the factory.
the best quality, like Pro Shop or,
Okay.
what are they?
it's
The
the,
ver-
it's the wouldn't that be the 92X, the Target
Nah.
model, whose name I
Nah.
can't remember right now?
Nah, that gun's junk. No, they're a nice gun. The top of the line in price wise is the 92X, the silver one. Because they got
that's what-
92Xs that are black. I have those, but there's the
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
the
It
high
has
performance X model like Obnoxious has. That's the top tier from Beretta itself.
Yeah.
But it's just got
Obnoxious has one.
yeah. The
That
true
lucky
best
son of
gun,
a bitch.
the
you know?
best gun may not be the most expensive, but the best gun is the Elite LTT. By far, it's, in my opinion, compared to the X, it's a better gun. It's $100 cheaper or so, but it's not as pretty, but it's got some better stuff on it. The Langdons and the LTTs is the best Beretta. Wilson Combat's close, if not like identical. Like you're really not going to much tell the difference. But the Langdons, as far as you just want to go and buy it and take it home right now, that's the best Beretta you can get. And I know the stores don't have stuff right now, but if you go to Langdon Tactical itself, his website, he has everything in stock. And he'll do a trigger job on his to where, and you'll pay the same amount of money, whether if you bought one here from your local store, you're either going to have to buy the trigger job off of him and do it yourself, or you're going to have to send it to him and get the trigger job done and sent back to you, as compared to if you just call him up and say, here's my deposit, here's the money. He's got that gun in stock with a trigger job on it, and you can get it that way. And you save $200 just buying it straight from him, pretty much.
Yeah, here's the dimensional differences, by the way, between the compact and the 92, the full size. This is with the 92 FS. The length of the compact is 7.75 inches. The full size is 8.5 inches. So you're talking what? 3/4 of an inch difference there. Then you got the height. The compact is 5.25 inches, and the full size is 5.4 inches. So not much difference there. It's 0.15, 1500ths of an inch. So it's not much difference there. Width is identical, 1.5 inches on both of them. Weight, about 2 ounces different. The compact is 31.6 ounces and the full size is 33.3 ounces. And then the barrel length, the barrel on the compact is 4.25, and the full size is just under 5 inches at 4.9 inches. So, I mean, any other brand, that compact is still a full size. It's just crazy the way that it's not really a compact when you look at the way that what everybody else terms their compact pistols to be.
Why did they make that gun the way it is in the beginning? Why did Beretta come up with that particular firearm? Was it for military and police purposes? Was the whole intention of this is to be a combat handgun or something,
92?
and then they just tried to fit it for the civilian market?
Yeah, 92 is originally designed for police. Yeah.
Yeah, police, and it's based off of it's the
51.
yeah, thank you. I was drawing a blank, which was a single stack. It's a single stack. It looks almost identical to the 92S. But yeah, it was for police and military.
Yeah, right from the get-go. That was designed for trying to get an Italian military police contract, a law enforcement gun. And just so happens, it drifts its way into the civilian market.
Yeah,
You gotta
a lot of
Beretta,
handguns are made that way.
Beretta's main deal, I mean, look, they don't make that. They have, the last 10, 20 years, they got the APX and the Storm and stuff like that. But for the longest time, it was just a 92 platform pistol, and that was it. Beretta's main deal is shotguns, and nice shotguns. You know what I mean? When they went to go make a pistol, it was just for the contracts for the market. They weren't trying to put a Beretta in the hands of every citizen. Financially, that's not what they were looking for.
Yeah, it's if you look at
That
most
sounds
of
weird to me. Beretta shotgun. I've never.
Yeah,
It sounds
Dude, that's all
unheard
they've
of to
made
me.
for
That's
500
weird.
years, Rob.
Actually,
Why the hell don't I know this?
Because they're
I don't know.
expensive as hell, Rob. Because we can't afford a Beretta shotgun. That's why.
yeah.
well,
All right, that makes sense.
Well,
I'll let you in on a little something on the shotguns. We always used to go pheasant and quail hunting out here when it was really, really, really big and really popular versus the deer hunting out here. My uncle, my cousin, and about everybody they drugged down from the north, from Grand Island, a good 50, 60 miles away, come down here and hunt on the open prairie on the river bottom. Most of those guys had Beretta shotguns. And I'm telling you, those were some of the nicest, well-operated shotguns that I'd ever seen. And I even traded a guy one day. I said, okay, to my cousin. And I said, okay, you take my Remington, I'll take the Beretta. And I said, we'll see if we see a difference. Wow, that Beretta semi-auto, and I can't remember the model number or anything. That's been a long, long time ago. That thing shot so smooth. The transition on shots, if you were going to try to pick up like a double on quail or pheasant like that, the recoil, they had that thing matched really nice, where the recoil was not near as bad as that Remington Model 11 that I used to carry. And it would just cycle, and you were right back on target, and you could blast that second bird straight out of the sky before it got too far away. I mean, the Beretta shotguns are pieces of art as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but like a 1301, the semi-auto that would just have polymer stock and stuff, a tactical shotgun, everyday use shotgun. Those are the cheapest thing they make, and I don't know, what do they run? $1,300, $1,400. If you get a Langdon one, they go $1,700, $1,800. But other than that, you get into their nicer guns, and their double barreled, their break opens, their over and unders and stuff. Oh man, they go quickly. $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000.
Yeah.
Depending on how you got that finished and what kind of engraving or inlays it has, a Beretta shotgun easily over 10 grand for a double barrel.
Yeah, I think it's a big jump. Like I said, I think you can get the semi-auto, you know what I mean, for less than $2 grand, and then from there it jumps straight to $39.99 or something like that.
I wouldn't doubt it, because when I was shooting with those guys all the time, beautiful wood stocks on everything on those Berettas and stuff. And it was just just looked like a damn race car versus my Remington, which looks like an old workhorse. But hell, I shot plenty of damn birds with a Remington, not a problem. But man, once you got one of those in your hands, it just felt like you had a race car in your hands.
Okay. Obnoxious says Joe Biden says you should get a Beretta shotgun. Yeah, it's because Joe Biden knows most people can't afford one. That's his version of gun control.
And most of those guys up there had money, so that's why they brought him down.
See, Rob, they make $10,000 shotguns. That's why they're not worried about getting me a stainless takedown lever for $30.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah,
possible.
I get it. I guess. I mean, if it's the kind of money Biden can refer to, then I understand why I've never heard of them. So
Yeah, they don't sell them at Walmart or nothing.
Yeah, but getting back to the pistol thing about the M&P. I mean, yeah, the M&P. Somebody said M&P up there. Now I got M&P on the brain. The Beretta being, developed for police and military. If you look at most, not all, but most of the iconic pistols in history that, from the U.S., like from Colt and Smith & Wesson, they were developed for military and police use. You got all the cap and ball revolvers. Those were military weapons. That's why they're the Navy or the Army, because that's what they were developed for. And that persisted when they got into the centerfire cartridges in Remington and Smith & Wesson and Colt. They were all competing for military contracts with every handgun they came out with. What didn't matter the caliber. Even Browning and Colt, when they both put out their versions of the Browning vest pockets, those were developed for the military for officers to carry. Generally, officers would carry a smaller caliber weapon than what the standard grunts would be carrying, basically just for close range self-defense use, because the senior officers generally weren't going to be out there on the battlefield. So they would have a small little thing, which was mostly prestige kind of thing. So so even those, like your 32s and your 380s, those were military calibers because they were developed for the officers to carry. So it's crazy when you think about it, but most of the handguns, the really iconic ones from history, not so much the newer ones, but the older ones, they were almost all developed for military use. And then when you got into the 20th century, particularly, you started seeing ones that were being developed primarily for police use. The 357 round was developed as a police round, and it was also adopted for use in hunting. The 44 Magnum, because they decided that the 357 wasn't powerful enough for hunting, so Elmer Keith came out with the 44 Magnum based on the 44 Special, which was based on the 44 Russian, which was a military cartridge. So and it all develops from military and police use, really.
Yep, it was all developed out of necessity. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out back to New York. Yeah, it has been a while. So
sorry, getting bugged here.
Yeah, the 9mm.
My daughter needs block boxes for work, suggestion boxes, so she's trying to bribe me to make some for her.
Yeah. Any of you know why the 9mm or 9x19 millimeter cartridge was developed?
Yes, it's because
To kick ass.
to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of bubble gum.
And save your money normally.
That's right. No, actually, the 9x19 was developed because certain countries would not let their citizens have the same rounds as the military.
No.
So that's why the 9x19 was,
Nope,
at least that's the way it goes.
No, the 9x19 was developed as a military round from the start. 9x19 millimeter was
For war.
designed because the United States and England would not test the Luger in 7.65 Luger. So Georg Luger went back to Germany with his Luger pistol and developed the 9mm cartridge for both those countries' trials of the Luger. They both turned down that cartridge anyway. Meanwhile, the Germans got a hold of it, who were using at that point the 7.65 Luger round, liked the 19 better, and 9x19 has started. They adopted that version of the Luger for their military cartridge, and Luger actually made a version of the Luger in 45 ACP because that round was being developed at the same time for use in what eventually would become the 1911 as a competitor for the U.S. trials, and that pistol still didn't get adopted. Everybody knows the United States adopted the 1911, and the Brits, they just stuck with their Webley revolvers instead. They didn't adopt anything new.
Yeah, but
I thought
No,
they
go ahead.
invented. I thought 9mm was invented to try to save lives.
Yeah, and like Noxus points out, the round that you were talking about, Pat, wasn't the 9x19. That was the 38 Super that was developed for the countries that couldn't have military calibers.
Yeah, but there's still actually I think it's Mexico. If I'm thinking right, and this is where I was coming from at Rich. There are certain countries that you cannot have the military from
That's
what we
why they
know
have
from
30
today.
Yeah, that's why 38 Super is so popular in Mexico, because that was never a military caliber.
Right.
In Mexico,
but-
you can't own a 9x19 millimeter handgun because that's been a military round since its inception.
Well, then which 9mm am I thinking of? Because there's a 9mm that they cannot have down there.
Yeah, they can't have 9x19.
Yeah,
they
and
can't
that's
have 9x19. They can't have 308. They have 38 Super. 38 Super is a 9mm cartridge.
right, but it's either 9mm or 9x19 in some country that they cannot have.
Yeah,
And
Mexico can't. Yeah, Mexico cannot have 9x19.
Yeah, right. And that's the point that I was alluding to. They cannot have the actual round that the military used.
Yeah.
I'm
But
sorry
that's
if
not
I
the 9mm.
spoke earlier.
But-
That's what I was trying to get out. So
Yeah, you totally convoluted what you were trying to say.
Right.
You described the development process of the 38 Super when you were trying to talk
Right.
about the development
got it
process of the
confused.
9x19.
Yep, I got it confused. I knew there was a round down there that they could not use. Yeah, I just got it screwed up in my head. I got too many
Yeah.
numbers run through my damn head.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why you see so many 1911s and 38 Supers, because they sell them on the Mexican market, and that also became popular with target shooters and other competitive shooters because of the power the 38 Super has. 38 Super is actually more powerful than 9x19. A lot of people don't realize that.
Gotta be careful, fellas. Apparently, Rich was wrong this week, and he was publicly stated and pointed out. So he's a little touchy.
So can you imagine all the people that are gonna come across the border now, and they're gonna get here and they're gonna be like, "Where's all the 9mm?" And we'll be able to laugh. Ha ha ha! Jokes on you.
Yeah, what 9mm?
Yeah, right. Yeah, guess what? We're gonna use it on you. Oh, what? Sorry, what? What did I say? No,
We're
actually,
all
the
looking
Texas
for it.
injunction.
I said there ain't no unicorns here, buddy.
Yeah, no, actually, Texas did get that injunction filed, and so what? It's 90 to 100 days before they can shut down the border before just letting everybody come across. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of states that are fighting back on this. There's letter that's signed by at least 6 states now. That was originally started by the Attorney General for West Virginia. His name is Patrick Morrissey, and so there have been 5 other states that have signed on to the letter, basically telling Biden if he doesn't back off on his executive orders, they're all going to file lawsuits against him.
That's crap. You can't just let anybody and everybody just walk on it. I mean, are these other countries paying for their welfare or, their, what do you call it, transition or whatever? Are they paying for that, or are we going to get stuck paying for that? Like, are the politicians that say it's okay, are they taking it out of their money? They moved into one of their 5 houses, or are we going to get stuck with that bill?
We don't have to worry about it.
I'm
Your grandkids
just tired of this crap. I assume we all have locks on our doors. We probably have locks and doors on our cars. There's reasons for this type of crap. This is ridiculous. And, I don't carpool people because they can just hop in my car. You know what I mean? This is not how it works. I don't understand it. It upsets me. It really does that they're going to even try this crap. So there's a legal process. There's a way. Even just for a disease, for criminals. There needs to be, they hit us with this common sense gun control bullshit. Well, there needs to be common sense immigration. There's got to be something going on here. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, the hypocrisy here is Mexico tries to seal their southern border, and yet they want us to have our southern border fully open so their people can cross our border, which they're trying to stop people from Central America doing to their border.
Yeah, pretty much. That pretty much sums it up. I saw today that Joe Biden officially holds the record for the number of executive orders signed in under 10 days, which is 26. No, scratch that. It's 28 now. By the end of the day, it was 28. Bush had 1.
No, Bush had none. But the chart I saw,
Senior had 1. Senior did have 1.
Okay,
yep, he had 1.
Chart, the chart that one of the YouTubers I saw put up today had Bush at having 0. So,
Junior.
Either way, 1, 0. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Clinton had 2. Trump at the top. At the top of it was Trump had 6.
Yeah, see the chart that the chart the guy put up had 1 for Trump, 0 or 4 for Obama, 1 for Trump, and then like you said, a whole bunch for Biden.
And it's like
the very first executive order ever signed was to get the White House painted because they were concerned about how they can get funding and this and that. So basically it was from my knowledge, basically that's what they had to do to get it painted. And now it's turned into, I guess a dictatorship or something. Not a dictatorship, but, heavy-handed, people just going at it, like a normal thing now.
No, you got it right the first go around, Rob, because they even quoted him as saying, well, if you can't come together and you can't get bipartisanship over trying to settle all these things and everything, if you sign an executive order, well, then you're just a dictatorship. Well, guess what? Biden has signed 26, 27, 28 probably by the end of the day, I'm guessing. So, yeah, actually, he is a dictatorship now. He is a dictator.
Oh, hail King Biden. Basically what this is amounting to.
Yeah.
I don't bow and kiss anybody's ring.
Well, he doesn't want you to kiss his ring. He wants you to kiss another part of his anatomy.
Damn it, you beat me to it, Rich. I was going to say the brownest part of his white ass.
Yeah. At least you got to play with his leg hair. Let him sniff you a little bit.
No, you only get to play with his leg hair if you're in the swimming pool.
Oh God.
And you're a little kid.
Is that where the roaches are?
Apparently, that's how he found out about roaches. And he also thinks he's an Indian in a John Wayne movie because he calls everybody a lion, dog faced pony soldier.
Yeah. What am I signing here, huh? It doesn't matter. Just sign it. Did you all see that clip?
I heard about it. And, it's just like Congress, right? Got to sign it so we can read it later.
No, you got to pass it so you can find out what's in it.
Yeah, got to pass it to find out what's in it.
So
Those people should
he's
be dragged
taking-
out to the gallows.
I totally agree with you. And so if you got to pass it to see what's in it, is it a lot like a turd then?
No, kidney stone.
God, don't talk about kidney stones.
Geez, Rich.
Man, don't even do it.
But
Knock on some wood
tell me
for you.
some of
Don't
these
jinx
bills
me,
that
son
they've
of a
been.
bitch.
Tell me that some of these bills they've been passing aren't more akin to that than a turd. Come on. Some of these bills have been painful, man.
That's what I'm telling you. You got to pass it to see what's inside of it. So who's digging in dog shit?
Yeah, but when you pass a stool, it can still stink, and that's more like these bills. A kidney stone hurts while it's going through, but after the whole process is done, it's not that bad.
Uh-huh.
See, you're
Where do you
thinking
get the new
odor.
COVID
I'm
test?
thinking pain. So
Yeah, pain is bad with kidney stones. Can be.
a clothespin takes care of the odor.
Shit, I've had to deal with them like twice. First time, I had no idea.
Uh-huh.
I was like pulling a double at work, and all of a sudden started having this like stomach pain. I was like, oh, that's weird. Ended up cutting out a little early. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in the shower like, oh, what the hell? And then about 2 hours later, I thought I was going to die. The lady went online, did some search, and she was like, oh my God, your appendix might be bursting or this or that. That's the worst thing to do, is to go online and search, because you always think you're going to die.
WebMD is one of the worst inventions that ever came about.
So she drags me down to the hospital, and come to find out it was a damn kidney stone, So it was rough, but it was fairly quick. The second time, that shit lasted like a week and a half, man. Like, oh, it was horrible. Horrible. Like, you're pissing in this little, like, cone strainer thing for like a week, and, they want you to check for the color, and, if you do pass a stone, what color it is and everything. Oh, Jesus, it was hell. It was to the point where they were going to have to possibly break it up with some kind of sound stuff. Or go in, and thankfully, it ended up passing, but not cool, man, not cool. And I found out recently the reason may have been from a vitamin C overdose. Not like an overdose, but some of my gummy vitamins are just damn good, and I got nothing to snack on once in a while, so I was being a dumbass.
Yeah, you're being a dumbass, all right.
Yeah. And then I had this, that Breakfast Shore shake mix. Well, same thing. I had nothing really to drink, so I started drinking that like crazy.
Nice.
And the next thing you know, I'm having kidney stones.
There's a reason why you're only supposed to drink one of those a day, man. Come on.
Yeah. So it might be my own fault, but just put that out there. Be careful on your vitamin C. Like the daily, the daily recommended amount is a little low, but you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
uncle had one. He gets them every so often, and then he had one that was where they had to go in and do the little scope thingy up inside you and use the whatever sound or laser, whatever it is they used to break it up. And he said that was the easiest one he passed after they did that. It was like nothing but dust that came out, microscopic dust. He didn't even feel it at that point. He's like, I wish they would do that with all of them when I get them.
Yeah, I have about one a year, and if it's too bad, I'll go to the emergency room. But mine don't bother me for a week or two. Mine come and get stuck instantly, man. And like you're talking about peeing in their little strainer to catch it, I can use every muscle in my body and pee about an eyedropper drop. Bloop. For hours
but you
and
feel like you
hours
gotta
and
go.
hours.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
done,
bitch.
exhausted once I pass it. I have a bad one every time. But if I have another bad one, I'm straight to the emergency room, because the last time that I had one that was terrible, I went right to the emergency room. Man, they gave me a shot, and 10 minutes later, I felt like zero pain. I mean, like none. It was like a miracle. They like fixed me.
So you're lucky. I went there and shit. I was out there looking like I was dying. Like, At first, I thought I was dying. I mean, I'll be honest. I looked like a little bitch out there. I was like, Jesus. The nurses are laughing and shit. They ain't giving me the damn thing. Like 3-4 hours later in the back, they finally gave me something. And I like passed out and boom, pissed it out. It was like, that was the first time, because I didn't know what was going on. And like I said, my lady kind of pre-gamed me that I was going to die. And, it was bad.
That kidney stone is like male childbirth, man. It's terrible.
VJ's like a little scope.
Yeah.
Ouch. It's like, when they give you that, when they do the scope thing, they actually put you to sleep for it, so you don't feel a darn thing. I had to have.
Well, I've had some serious injuries, stuff other people probably haven't dealt with. And nothing's honestly felt like a kidney stone, I'll be honest with you. And then not knowing what's going on, you can't visually see the injury or this or that, and obviously looking at the internet doesn't help. But I can say, in my opinion, kidney stones are one of the worst, probably the worst thing I've dealt with out of a lot of, serious injuries.
I could tell by the a pain in my back right at my kidneys the day before I'm going to pass a kidney stone. And like, I'm not the bravest guy in the world, but yeah, I mean, I'm not really even scared if you point a gun at me, but I'm afraid of two things in this world: snakes and kidney stones.
Yeah, I'm with you with the stones, man. Not a fan at all.
If you know they're coming, man, that is
I'm gonna
the
try
scariest.
to find
fear will run through my body. Not good fear either. Sometimes you get some fear, all it does is piss you off. You know what I mean? Gets the adrenaline going. When you know a kidney stone's coming, man, like, you feel very sad for yourself.
Well, next time I'm gonna see if Rich will send me one of his copies of the Vanilla Ice tapes, and then just bump that up on some good bass and just lay over the speaker, and hopefully it'll just shake it apart.
I can't do that because I don't have one my damn self.
Well, that's some pretty horrible ultrasonic cleaning when it comes to Vanilla Ice.
I'd send you a copy of Black Sabbath's Planet Caravan. That's got some heavy bass to it.
When you get a bad one, you can just take your junk out and slam it in a door. That way it'll hurt less.
Crazy.
Yeah, that way it'll hurt, but it'll just hurt less.
Is that like the doctor, my leg hurts? Doctor proceeds to punch patient in the arm. What'd you do that for? Well, does your leg hurt as bad now? Is that one of those situations there, Jason?
Yeah. Maybe you'll break it up too and it'll come out. Yeah, that's a terrible subject to bring up, kidney stones. I don't even know how we ended up talking about it. Ugh.
I don't know.
Talking about the bad bills that Congress has been passing.
Yep, that's
Passing like a kidney stone.
pass it
Yep,
like
exactly.
damn it. Went from Berettas to kidney stones.
Gotta,
Hey,
you gotta see how
started
big it
with
is,
technical
what it costs.
difficulties in cars, so I mean, you
Hell
never
of a
know
show,
the
man.
progression that this show is going to take. Holy shit! I just noticed what time it is. Midnight probably already sent his links out. Let me check. Yep, he sure did. 11 minutes ago. So yeah, I guess we're gonna have to start wrapping this there interesting topic filled episode up for tonight. So we'll do some outros since I completely forgot the intros. So Jason, anything you gotta plug or talk about or anything before we get out of here?
Thanks for the invite. Good to see everybody. The conversations kind of just left me a little short on words. I think a tumbling stones and a little blood just means you're still alive.
Hey man, it's the Rolling Stones.
Ha ha!
Alrighty.
Get your snow
Rob?
shovels, everyone.
Huh?
I said, everybody break out the snow shovel.
Oh, good lord, yeah. Thankfully, we have a maintenance guy here that actually uses the snow blower to clear the sidewalk. We just got to do the little piece that actually goes from the sidewalk to our front door. So we don't got a whole lot of shoveling we have to do.
My dog's a low to the ground hugger, man. He is just basically snow plowed and pushed a path out to the yard. He can't walk over it. He just got to push right through it.
When I was younger, we had Husky Shepherd mix, and she just loved playing in the snow.
Yeah, my dogs love the snow. He's been out more times today than normal. He just sit out there in it. But yeah, he's a corgi, and he's like 60 pounds. So he's only supposed to be 25. So he drags the ground as it is.
Yeah, but she would go out there and she would be rolling around in it and, wagging her tail like crazy. I mean, she just go nuts playing in the snow. She would literally run and just jump and land in like the biggest snow drift that was in the yard. She was nuts playing in the snow. But anyway, moving on. Rob, anything you want to plug or talk about real quick before we get out of here?
Nah, just thanks for having me, and thanks for joining us, people. Be safe out there. Don't overdo it, but definitely get outside, do some shoveling or something. A little exercise is good. Just don't kill yourself.
Yep. That's one of the dangers of shoveling snow, especially if you're older. People will have heart attacks, and they will literally shovel themselves to death with this. So if you don't overdo it, folks. If you're out there shoveling the snow, just use common sense and be careful, and don't overwork yourself. Pat, what about you? Anything you want to plug or just get a short little conversation in before we get out of here?
Oh, no, not really. Just wanted to say thanks for having me on tonight. I know I haven't been on the last couple weeks, but been pretty busy between snow and kids and everything else. Just life in general. But, just glad to be on tonight, and hope. Thankfully, my internet was agreeing with everything I wanted to do tonight. And just good conversation as always, fellas. Yeah.
Yeah, some strange conversation, some good car talk, and some good gun talk, but also some strange conversation tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah, a little bit. Hey, Rob, you going to be up here in just a little bit? Can I holler at you in just a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I didn't know if it was getting too late for you or not, so I was going to give you a holler.
Well, if what we're getting here is heading up the
$5.99 the first minute and $29.99 every minute after that. You know the deal.
If New York's going to get what we're getting here, Rob ain't going to be working tomorrow anyway. Yeah, that's just the way that is right now.
We'll see, man. You're gonna make me throw a short video up on my way to work. Get that money plowing through snow.
Yep. There you go.
So what you're saying is you're going to pretend you're Jason's corgi and just plow the snow with your belly?
You can do it, Rob.
Nah, my Chevy handles it, man. If I can
Oh,
get
Chevy?
around in 3
Maybe
feet,
you
I
can.
can get around in 14 inches or whatever the hell they're throwing at us.
That's what she said.
That's what you wish she said.
Oh, ouch.
Well, I'm glad somebody caught that.
Yeah. Woo. Burned.
Wow.
Somebody throw a flamethrower on that bitch.
Anyway, on that note, we will bid you all adieu for tonight, and we will catch you next week. This is where you throw out your plugs, guys, your catchphrases. Come on.
All right. Stay safe. Carry your weapon, y'all.
Happy New Year.
It's a little late, Jason.
Have a wonderful time.
Bye-bye. Let's see if this will work to turn it off now. 'Cause, nothing's working right. Let's see. We will end that stream over here.
Well, you are in two places at once since I see Rich and Rich